Here's where the gets real.
Good evening, this is Newsnight for May 27th, 2020. To start off the week, we follow a bit more coverage of the 2020 elections, in particular a screw up on the part of Joe Biden. Last week the former vice president was speaking in an interview on the program, The Breakfast Club with radio host Charlemagne Thaggard. In this interview, Joe Biden said the following quote,
So if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Now, given the context of Joe Biden as an individual, do I think he is a racist? No, I do not. However, that does not change the fact that what he said is racist, nor does it change the overall message it sends, not just to black voters, but even voters of any color and independent voters. Let us lay it out in 3 parts. The first implication and most obvious is that this shows an absurd level of overconfidence on the part of Biden. Biden in this case serves as a metaphor for failing to understand that you cannot and should not racialize votes. It is a message that has particularly failed the Democrats on more than one occasion, and we are seeing the effects of that bias now. The truth is that up to 24% of black males support President Trump as it stands, and about 6% of black women. Now at face value those numbers are on the lower end. However, when you do a bit of math, you will find that those numbers represent a total of between 5 to 6 million voters, which is a substantial amount of people that Biden has essentially implied don't even exist. Our second point lies in Biden's failure to understand he cannot rely purely on the Democratic vote to carry him through the election. A decent portion of voters in the US are independents, roughly 44 million, and over those a decent portion are black and white voters. As a result of Biden's comment, the risk is that black independent voters will feel like they are nothing more than a token vote that Biden doesn't have to work for, and white independent voters will feel as if they are lumped into some racial stereotype of only whites supporting Donald Trump. In essence, this comment has opened a can of worms that will be hard to backtrack from. Even after the former vice president almost immediately apologized, the damage was already done. The third and final implication from this statement is that it once again represents an ever-growing list of memorable moments when Biden clearly doesn't know when it's time to shut up.
I was a Democratic caucus. You ever been to a caucus? No, you haven't. You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
Change the culture, period, and keep punching at it and punching at it and punching at it.
If you want to check my shape on it, let's do push-ups together, man. Let's run. Let's do whatever you want to do.
I thought you might have been high when you said it. and let me tell you, because
if you have kept up with news from the 2020 election, you can recount the many times Biden has said something either weird, off-putting, or just plain stupid. Now, before I continue this rant, Biden is far from the only one. There are many who do this as well.
They say the noise causes cancer. You tell me that one, okay? You know, the thing makes...
I just cannot place where I have extensively heard about systemic, just flat out falsifying of information.
We never agreed to protect the Kurds for the rest of their lives. So was there actually an informant? Maybe the informant was Schiff. It could be Shifty Schiff.
It will come to me. I can't figure...
The only difference here being that when Trump says something stupid, he is often not affected. When Biden says something stupid, it has a more profound effect. As such, there is no way to tell how many more times Biden can say something stupid and escape the fallout from permanently ruining his chances in the election. In news related to the president, Mr. Trump has recently come under criticism for 2 specific issues he has been complaining about. The first and most crucial is in regards to Fox News anchor Neil Cavuto. Mr. Cavuto made the unbelievably foolish mistake of actually calling the president out on his bullshit. Cavuto seemingly came out of left field,
cheeky fucking bastard,
criticizing the president's careless promotion of hydroxychloroquine, and it went something like this.
This will kill you.
Oh, I didn't even know you were here.
This is a leap that should not be taken casually by those watching at home or assuming, well, the President of the United States says it's okay.
Less than a day later, the president sent out a tweet saying, quote, "You have more anti-Trump people, by far, than ever before." Looking for a new outlet. The president once again showing his idiotic belief that any news outlet that even dares to criticize him is just anti-Trump. Whilst I could respond in any way to this, I'm going to let Mr. Cavuto's words be the voice of reason here.
There are no grays, no middle ground. You're either all in or you're just out. Loyal on everything or not to be trusted on anything. Which could explain the president himself this week bashing Fox News yet again, urging his supporters to stop watching the channel, to quote tweet, "Fox isn't working for us anymore." Well, first of all, Mr. President, we don't work for you. I don't work for you. My job is to cover you, not fawn over you or rip you. Just report on you.
All of this unfortunately is a small part of the larger issue, that being that Donald Trump shows an incredible inability to admit he is wrong, and that anyone who criticizes him is not credible in any way. And with all of this being in relation to the drug hydroxychloroquine, President Trump has proven that his desperate desire to have the last word and be right all the time is far more valuable to him than the lives he has endangered with his careless ramblings about something he clearly does not fully understand. With that, regardless of my negative views of Fox News, I'm happy to extend my gratitude to Mr. Cavuto for not only excellent journalism, but a willingness to stand up for his principles and stand against the president for being wrong and trying to double down. The second issue regarding the president has been his recent and unfounded criticism of voting by mail. During a press conference about 1 month ago, the president was asked a question on the matter and proceeded to respond as such.
I'm all for it, but they have to be very careful because you know the things with bundling and all of the things that are happening with votes by mail, where thousands of votes are gathered. And I'm not going to say which party does it, but thousands of votes are gathered and they come in and they're dumped in a location, and then all of a sudden you lose elections that you think you're going to win. I won't stand for it. Well, we're going to find out about the proof because you're going to see what's going on.
The president is making a baseless claim with no evidence at all, which is a proven track record, such as the time he claimed he lost California in the 2016 election. Because 3 million illegal immigrants voted in the election, a claim that to this day has not been proven at all. This unfortunately speaks to a larger issue of how, despite Trump consistently making things up, he continues to remain popular. Now, before any avid Trump supporters click off the video, let it be known I don't think the president has only done bad things. I agree with his ideas of trying to bring jobs back to America. I agree with some of his stances on trade, and I even agree with a variety of his criticisms on the modern political system, of which many are valid. That being said, for someone to honestly say that Donald Trump does not lie is a grossly disingenuous thing to say. President Trump is an extreme enigma of the political world, where despite the various false statements he has made, he continues to have a decent base of support. To sum up this statement, I can understand supporting politicians who are flawed. No one is perfect and people will make mistakes, sometimes ones that are difficult to recover from. However, I simply believe that in spite of any good President Trump has done, it is far outweighed by the many lies and wrongs he has committed. Based on that fact, he does not deserve the support that his base gives him, and if possible, I would like to extend a hand to any supporter of Trump and understand why they support him and how to best make the case that he does not fight for your interests and find a common understanding. I have met some Trump supporters in my life, and people need to remember that many of his supporters are also people who want the best for the country, and the best way to work with them is to not only show the president is not the best for the country, but that others out there can be a far better replacement. In other news, 1/5 of people in the United Kingdom seem to be taking the piss, believing the COVID-19 virus is a hoax, proving that flat earthers have some competition for the lowest brain cell count of the century.
Mamá, me voy a cambiar de carrera.
North Korea, after immense research and debate, finally admits to the world that Kim Jong-un cannot magically bend time or space.
Well, that was a load of shit.
And a federal judge in Florida puts an end to a law requiring ex-felons to pay fines and fees in order to register to vote, expanding the right to vote to tens of thousands of felons who have served their time for the crimes they committed. Thank you for listening to this segment of Newsnight. If it wasn't obvious, an interesting topic throughout the discussion has been the idea of voting in general. And I understand that there are many people in this country who choose not to vote. Millions do not. Now, I'm not looking to shame you, as you have the right to vote or not vote in America, and I will happily defend that right till the day I die. And to anyone who tries to shame people who don't vote, just remember these words of wisdom.
Never go in against a Sicilian when death is on the line.
Wait, what the fuck?